Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Bande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhusya Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are doing the meditation techniques that helps in the self-realization, and we are talking about the stages involved in the learning process of meditation. And by doing the step by step, you move, and at the same time you are able to control the mind. So essentially, first we said pranayama, controlling the breath, that brings the mind to the seat of meditation, and prana vichana, witnessing the breathing process, and the third one is deha vichana, witnessing the whole body, and the fourth one is mano vichana, that is observing the mind. So part of the mind has to observe the other part of the mind, and that where we talking about japa yoga, and also taking the name of Iswara in some form that I can appreciate, and to develop the love for Iswara, that's called devotion. It's important to do other things before sita meditation. Now we're talking about how to pray. So prayer becomes important, not for, oh Lord, give me this, give me that, give me that. That's not prayer, that's a begging. And the Lord will always be smiling only because he says, I already gave everything, this fellow is keep asking me again. So you don't want to go with a big list, sir, I've been praying for hours, that means you have a bigger list. Prayer is not meant for that. Oh, prayer is to recognize the presence of the Lord. So how do I recognize? See the presence of the Lord everywhere. That's what now we are talking about. Iswara Darshanam. Iswara Darshanam is seeing the Lord. So how do I have a vision of the Lord? Says, but right now we are having a particular form. Now we have to go beyond the form. So in order to develop the methodology for that, one has to do constant practice. So all the previous that in a Hindu society a person does as a ritual, where he has to do in the morning taking bath and go to the puja room where he has an altar of the Lord that he likes, and puts the lamp there, or the agarbatti, the incense stick, or any other process. You offer naivedyam. Naivedyam means offering something to the Lord. So now you visualize it's not really a form, but it's real Lord sitting in there. That's what is called avahanam. Inviting the Lord, please come here and please take my service. So essentially what it is, Krishna says, Patram Pushpam Palam Teyam Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam Yomi Bhakcha Prayachasi. So whatever you offer it to me, what he wants is bhakti. Bhakti is devotion. You devote anything. Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam. Patram is a small leaf. Patram Pushpam, a flower. Toyam, water. Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam. And fruit or anything, even water, if you don't have anything, just offer. It's a question of offering something to the Lord. When you invite somebody to please come to our house, and the many chief guests, when he comes, you obviously clean your room place before he comes, and everything under the table and all that, to make sure under the carpet nothing is seen, and you invite him, and in the tradition you offer, you want something to drink, a coke or a water or something, whatever you offer, so that he feels comfortable enough to sit. The same way, when you are inviting the Lord of the whole universe, you are inviting, and when you are inviting, since he cannot be seen, inviting in the form, please come into this form. Asmin bimbe Mahanarayanam avahayami, Mahavishnum avahayami, Sri Ganapatim avahayami. That's what the pujari does. When you do puja at your place, he puts even a turmeric ball there or coconut there. Asmin bimbe, in this form, please come down. Obviously, Bimba is not the Lord. You come down into that. Once you invite him, you obviously assume that he has come, and therefore treat him as though Lord has come, and you offer. So this is all foolishness. People are offering water here. How can the water? It's not the foolishness. It's the mental attitude that is required. So whatever you offer, you are offering. A fellow is offering in reality. So there is a small story that people quote here that I heard also. It says one person was doing puja to Lord Shiva. So he has the Lord Shiva and doing puja, and he is doing regularly, continuously for every day for many years, but nothing is happening. Nothing is happening, that's what he thought. So he says, this Shiva is useless, I am unnecessarily paying him. I thought Shiva is easy to please, but this Shiva seems to be more difficult than any other. I heard Hanuman is better. And he brought the Hanuman there. What happened? And then he started and put Shiva in the back all the way. So he started doing Hanuman puja. But when he was putting agarbatti was going towards his Lord Shiva instead of Hanuman. He says, I don't want, I want only the Hanuman to get, not Lord Shiva. So he was trying to block the agarbatti, the incense to go to Lord Shiva. So he took a cotton and he was blocking his nose so that he doesn't smell the incense smell at all. Then Lord Shiva appeared right there. So, beta, what do you want? Hare, what is this? Strange, I have been praying you for so many years and you never cared for me, and when I am started praying now the Hanuman, and I even blocking a cotton so that you don't smell this smoke. So how come you are appearing now? Then Shiva laughed, said, beta, you are praying as though I am an idol there. I am not real there, you are doing prayer. So I said, okay, idol. I was not doing idling there. But now you realize that I am real because you are blocking with the cotton. That means I must be real, otherwise you won't block it. So that means now you realize that I am really real. Therefore I appeared for you. So what does it mean? It means, this is a story of course, it means I had to recognize that it is really Lord present there. Then only it makes some sense, right? Puja. So it's not an idol worship, it is an ideal worship in the form of an idol. In what form idol I can? Any, because they are putting a turmeric as though it is a symbolism, and please come into this form. When Lord is everywhere, every form is his form. So I can invoke him in any form. It's a question, but from now on, once I invoke him to come on the form, I have to have a reverential attitude. If I can put a salute to a piece of cloth with stars or stripes or with tricolors with the chakram in between, I'm not putting a salute to a piece of cloth or colors. I am saluting the nation as symbolized in that form. So symbolized worship is there everywhere, whether you like it or not. Idol worship is there. Even everybody practices the idol worship, because that's how the things that cannot be seen are always symbolized in form so that it can be representative. So any flag is a representative of the nation, and therefore respect for the flag is respecting the nation. And even if the flag becomes the tone, you dispose it off properly. That's what they do in the Ganesha Puja. After Ganesha Chaturdasi, they dispose of the Ganesha in a proper way, because it was once occupied by the Lord. You see that in India. It's not a idol worships and all that. That's only criticism without understanding it. So everyone is an idol worshipper. So when I respect somebody, it's an idol. When I respect my parents in the form of a photo, it is an idol worship only, because photo is not my Lord. But at the same time, I respect the photo because it is symbolized, reminds me of my association with my parents and all that. Same way, when I look at the Lord in particular form that I am used to, it symbolizes me, takes me beyond the form to the nature of the reality. So Iswara Darshanam involves clear understanding of the Lord is everywhere, and He occurs in every form or any form that I invoke Him. So particular forms are symbolized in Hinduism, so that when I see the form, immediately it recognizes. But symbolism as something else also beyond. All that is emphasized in a traditional Hindu, sadhak, one who comes through the proper tradition, he has to follow. If you don't like the tradition, have your own tradition. But the idea has to be kept in mind, because the mind needs a locus for concentration. That is the essence. And the higher the locus, higher the mind becomes a quieter and calmer in the process. So in Hinduism, we have stories, mythological stories are based on the gods, so that when I think of the God, I think of all the great things. Most of the gods are there to protect the good people and punish the bad people. That is the stories of all our scriptures. Is in the form of stories. The culture is educating what's good and what is bad, and what should be discarded and what should be encouraged. That is the whole process of it. So studying Ramayana or Mahabharata, all these things, or any Puranic stories, Bhagavatam, are meant for glorifying the Lord, not for glorifying the Lord's sake, but in the process of glorification, mind visualizes what is that ideal state that is symbolized by the Lord. And when I idealize that, that becomes my ideal for my life itself. That becomes a Iswara Darshanam. So Iswara Darshanam is not only just symbolically doing worship in the morning, first thing in the morning, but in the mentally you have to inculcate the vision of the Lord. So in fact, Gurudev used to say, after puja is over, don't leave the Lord there in the puja room, take Him with you. Wherever you are going. I have to go to office, I have to do puja, and I have to go to office. Take the Lord also with you, the puja. Actually, Lord is there already, but in your mind, Lord is there. Therefore, I better behave properly. Lord is watching all the time. So that is essentially, implication is, when somebody is watching, that to the higher authority, I better make the mind properly, not to get into the wrong paths. Because I get trouble only when I go to wrong path. So I'm withdrawing my mind. So Shama, Dhamma, all those things that we discussed in terms of the discipline in the mind becomes easier when I recognize the Iswara. So therefore, Iswara Darshanam becomes vision of the Lord, has to be understood not only in the form, but is also outside the form, and therefore I need to know what is the Lord. Until I understand, I can visualize in the form of a symbol. But more than the symbol now, it says symbol is not the Lord, but He is there in the Lord, but in that symbol also, and therefore I am invoking His presence in that form. After puja is over, most of the pujas are Visarjanam. Oh Lord, please thank you for occupying this idol for this time for my puja. Now you can go wherever you want. So called the send off ceremony also is there as a part of ritual also. This is all done mechanically, and we just do simple, and we will be running around all over when the pujari is doing all that. So it is mental for us to observe, so that understand it and do the process ourselves in the mind. So, Iswara Darshanam is first seeing the Lord in a particular form, and in the meditation bring that form so that I can see that Lord in my mind now, not only outside that I am doing. So all becomes a routinely important to develop that attitude in the mind. So first thing in the morning, get up in the morning and start with a prayer in the morning, and go to sleep with a prayer in the night. This is a part of a tradition that has to be inculcated to purify the mind, so that the mind is reveling in this rather than the problems of the day. You are thinking about it, and if you go to sleep, you won't get a sleep because mind wants to keep on running about problems and get worries and all that. So only way to get is bring the Lord and hand over to Him all the worries. So we'll talk about how to do that all more and care, because now we are looking at a subtler process where bhakti and jnana are coming together in some form in preparing the mind. These are all preparation of the mind. So that when the Vedanta talks about you are that, you have to drop everything and have clear understanding of what Vedanta says. So therefore, in the tradition, we talk about the first thing is to get up in the morning and see the Lord has to be everywhere because He is the Lord. God is, and according to the tradition, the Lord Himself became many. So tadaichada bahusyam tada eti. So He saw and He thought, let me become many, and He became many. That's how the scripture talks about. Now I want to have Iswara Darshanam. How? Says this is what it is. You want to see Lord not somewhere else. Here He became many. That's what its statement is. That means I have to learn to see the Lord in the many, because He has become already many. So therefore, whenever I look at anything in the world, I have to have the vision of the Lord in that also, because everything is nothing but Him only. He is occupying different names and forms. It may be this form, this material, that material. Those things don't mean much now, because everything is Him. I can invoke Him in any form that I want. I can see Him in any form, and that's what is called lingam. Lingam is nothing but lingyate iti lingam. That which takes you beyond the form is lingam. That's all the meaning of lingam also. So what kind of shape lingam, that form should be? Here it is symbolized where if I mix every form and put it into some form, the best form is a form of a globe or a round object, because that is one where the maximum, the surface to volume ratio is, that is less surface to volume, because surface is very high energy. So that's what is the question of a circle is nothing but, a sphere is nothing but having a least surface for the occupancy of a volume. So surface to volume is the smallest in the sphere. But here the symbolism is in a form where I can invoke in that form, and that's what called lingam. And it need not be lingam, it can any form, and every form is nothing but in Hindu people have coming from different traditions, therefore different forms are given. Not that God is occurring in a different form, and for each form there is a story behind it, so that the devotee can contemplate in that story. Not that that form alone is God or not the other form, it becomes a fanatism. That's not meant for it. Meant for it, it is God in every form, but for me I am invoking in this form. That's why we have varieties and varieties of temple. And Shankaracharya has composed the bhakti, the slokas, almost in every god, conceivable god. So therefore Lord Narayana He wrote, Lord Vishnu He wrote, Lord the Shiva He wrote, Saraswati He wrote, and therefore that is invocation of the Lord in any form, because every form is nothing, and when a particular god or particular portfolio is only invocation in that form for that field only. It's called phenomenal forces in that area is invocation in that form. So we have the Vayu Devata, we have Agni Devata, we have every Devata there. They are the gods of the air Devata. It's not like the air is God. Everything is nothing but God. But phenomenal forces are picturized in the form so that the mind has a reverential attitude towards that. So that what is to be. So here now we are talking about practices for the mind required. And when the practices ought to be dropped also we should know. These are only practices to help us, not to hold us to that. So in the second grade you have to learn so many, but after you learn, you go to the next step. Don't say, I want to hang on to the second grade. You have to go to third grade and the fourth grade and fifth grade. That's the process of education, is going from step by step and leaving the lower step by holding on to the next step. Because you cannot be in the lower step at the same time higher step also. You have to give up the lower step and occupy the higher step. That is what is called evolution also. So mind has to be in that form in order to do it. Now we are talking about Iswara. Iswara Darshana. How do I see? So Krishna says that I am there in everyone's heart. Iswara Sarva Bhutanam Ujjesh Arjuna Tishtati. Iswara is there in everyone as in the heart. So the essence of everybody is nothing but Iswara alone. That is a statement from Gita. Now Gita has to be understood. Krishna is says, hey, I am there in everyone's heart. So my Iswara Darshanam, seeing the Lord, has to be in such a way I should inculcate or I should practice seeing the Lord in everyone. In every form, not everyone, in every form. So every form is nothing but symbolism of the Lord now. So initially I am taking a particular symbol to help me to concentrate. Then I had to think and understand Lord is only not in that form but in every form. So not only that form helps me to do that, but when I leave the Lord and says, take the Lord with you, what should I do? I have to see the presence of the Lord in everything that I transact with, starting from my own heart. Now this becomes a practice for meditation. Now we are talking about meditation. See, Iswara Darshanam becomes a meditation process now. How do I do it? Start first thing in the morning. So what is that? So as soon as I get up and you are able to breathe, once you have become conscious of yourself, invoke the presence of the Lord. See the presence of the Lord in you, because without Him you cannot even breathe. So you remember, Ishwar, this sloka is not coming. So as a very life principle, he is expressing himself in your own body. So if God is in every heart, He should be there in my heart also. Heart means the essence. So He is the life principle itself. So when I am alive, see that He is the one who is making the whole body function. So aham vaishvanaro bhutva praninam deham asritaha. So it says, we chanted, now feel the presence of the Lord in you. From the breathing all the way, that you say, I am doing. It says, you are not doing anything. You are only watching, just stand apart and see Lord doing everything. That is essentially part of bhakti, part of meditation now. So what should I do meditation? Remember we started about sitting in one place and all that. Now we are going into every activity, now we are beginning into meditation. So starting with the getting up in the morning, we invoke the presence of the Lord. So sit, as soon as you get up, sit on the bed itself and close your eyes and see the presence of the Lord in you. As you breathe in and breathe out, and see that this whole body, which is matter, is being activated by the presence of the Lord in the form of Vaishvanara, in the form of life itself. I don't know what life it is, but Lord is making it, that's the presence of the Lord. So visualization of the Lord form in your own heart, and also in all the physiological functions, He is controlling that. So He is the one who controls everything, and one who is one making you to breathe also. And He is there in the lungs, He is there in the heart, He is there in the head, He is there, every organ is functioning because of Him only. Now, recognizing by the study of Vedanta, that's what Vedanta is pointing out, and that's what you have to see, not just the Vedanta as a bookish knowledge, yeah, Lord pervades everything, and yes, it's because of all that, blah, 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 has to be applied, and that has to be visualized in your own body, the presence of the Lord. That becomes Iswara Darshanam. Then, Lord is not only in you, Lord is there in your spouse lying down next, sleeping maybe, and see the presence of the Lord in that. He is active, doing, talking, listening, reading, and even quarreling with you is because the Lord is there in that. Your mind is now shifting not the external forms, not what they are doing or what they are eating, but to the cause of which they are able to do it. That is the real Lord. So you are essentially switching from what you see to that what you cannot see, but that is the essence of what you see. So that's what Upanishad talks about, and that's why Upanishad study has to be applied now. Where Vedanta study, yat chakshusha na pasyati, na chakshum se pasyati, tadeva brahma tvam viddhi, nedam yadidam upasate. Yat chakshusha, by that which eyes cannot see. Eyes cannot see what life is. I cannot see the breathing that is going on. I cannot see the digestive system. I cannot see the excretory system. Even there, Lord is there. Don't say it is bad or dirty. When Lord is there, how can it be dirty? If my attention is not what they excreted, but to that because of which I have the capacity to excrete also. Udana, all physiological functions are going on in everything. In the puja time, they do Sharirika puja, invoke the presence of the Lord here. In the Sandhya Vandanam, this is the 10 names we are chanting, says, oh Keshavaya Nama, we do. But means Lord is here, Lord is there, Lord is here, Lord is there, Lord is there, Lord is everywhere. So invoking the presence of the Lord in you is essentially part of that ritual is. Not a mechanical I have to do every day. If you do mentally what it is, then the purpose is accomplished. The following ritual will help you to do this. But don't hang on to the ritual for ritual's sake, but have an understanding. Then understanding with the performance is much better than without understanding doing mechanically. Doing mechanically is important for a child to learn, but slowly you have to develop the understanding of what exactly being said there. Suryasya mamanyusya manyupadayasya manyupadepya papebhyo rakshantam. That's what the Sandhya Vandanam starts. They say, oh, the Lord in every form, please protect me from the sins that I have committed, and protect me from doing more sins also. Not that now you have removed all that, I can do fresh sins. So then I don't commit again, but if I commit, please excuse me, whatever. So that is meant for prayer to done without my knowledge, whatever the sins that I have committed. That's what is called the prayer. The Sandhya Vandanam is a prayashchittam, is basically protection itself so that I am clean again, and so that with a clean mind I can do the Gayatri Japa and all that. That's a part of the Sandhya Vandanam that one has to do every day. If you don't know how to do it, at least sit down and think of the Lord. That's what Sandhya Vandanam. At least during Sandhya you are prescribing at particular times in order to invoke. And the biggest Lord is Lord Sun itself, because He is lighting everything. So anything that being lighted, illumined, is the consciousness itself. That is the symbolism of that, and through that we have to understand it. So yat chakshusha na pasyati, yena chakshum supasyati. That because of which eyes can see. That because of which that very life principle the eyes can see. That is the Lord. That becomes Iswara Darshanam. Tadeva Brahma Tvam Viddhi Nedam Yadidam Upasasi. That is real Brahman. And now drop all the forms and all that. Forms are helpful to get to this. And you go back to the forms when you are not able to do it. Just like stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 we talk about. In the same way, in the Iswara Darshan, forms help you to reach this. But when you can reach it, then drop the forms. Because this is what ultimately, chakshusha na pasyati, eyes cannot see, but eyes only seeing form. Ena chakshum supasyati, because of which eyes can see. I can see whether I am opening. That's a wonder actually I can see. So if you go to my website in the www.advaita.com under C, say I can see. If under the title you see what I have written there, it is trying to see what exactly I can see. Therefore, that which I cannot see, now Iswara Darshanam, which is not a form anymore, that I need to see, that means I have to understand, visualize that very life itself is the Lord, starting from my own body. If you do that regularly, then Lord, becomes automatically you start seeing the presence of the Lord in you and in others also. So we'll continue this, because this becomes now a meditation is taking you to knowledge slowly, and that's what we want. We'll stop here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.